Well, hello, ladies and gents. Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com. Welcome to another AMA Ask Me Anything episode. This one is all about training splits, but before we dive in, let's roll the intro. All right, this question is brought to us by John. John asks, what are your thoughts on doing a full body split 5 to 6 days a week, hitting every body part every day? I've been doing a push-pull leg split and have been diving into the rabbit hole of other options. All right, John, when it comes to training splits, the full body split is popular because people have a tendency to get bored when they're working out, so they like to mix it up. Like if you go in there and all you're doing is biceps, it's easy to kind of get bored with doing curls. So a lot of people will do a full body split, and there is definitely a lot of research that indicates that you want to have a greater training frequency than just doing a typical bro split of one body part one time a week, because that's not really enough frequency, especially as a natural athlete, natural lifter. Most of the research indicates that if you're targeting a specific muscle group 2 times a week, that should be sufficient if you've got enough intensity. So 2 to 3 times a week would probably be optimal. However, I don't necessarily think that if you hit that same, full body split, every single day necessarily, that would be optimal. If you're doing like a full body split, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's going to give each muscle group, targeted 3 times, then that would probably check that box for that 2 to 3 time a week frequency. However, when it comes with full body splits, think about it like this. You've got all of your body parts. You've got your biceps, your triceps, your chest, your shoulder, your back, your legs. Legs can be broken up into quads, hamstrings, calves. You've got all these muscle groups, and you're trying to fit all that into a single training session a few times a week. To me, that's not really optimal because each individual muscle group isn't really getting the attention it deserves. If I did every single muscle group for a given training session, and I tackled each of those muscle groups with the amount of intensity that I would want to tackle that specific muscle group, I would be in the gym for 4 or 5 hours, which is not really realistic for me. It kind of depends on what your goals are. If you're trying to just simply have great functional strength, functional movement, and then be able to, have mobility, flexibility, and enough frequency to target everything. We got rides in the corner here, so apologize for the baby noises. Then that may be fine. However, if your goal is to specifically build certain parts of your body, create this, ideal physique, if you're trying to shape your muscles in a specific way, if you're trying to actually body build, so that you're bringing up your biceps, bringing up your quadriceps, bringing up the teardrop, bringing up specific parts of the rear delt, the front delt, the side delt, and really shape your body like a sculptor, then I don't really think a full body split is going to be optimal. Because when I look at shoulders, for instance, if I'm doing a full body split and I'm tackling shoulders, I may only have enough time to do 1 or 2 movements in that full body split. However, if I've got a shoulder specific day 2 or 3 times a week, then I could do front lateral movements, side lateral movements, rear delt movements. I could do pushing movements like a overhead press. I could do face pulls. I could do all kinds of different movements to target specific heads of the shoulder, of the delts, and really kind of create more intensity and more shape and symmetry to that look that I'm trying to achieve. So I don't personally recommend a full body split as a bodybuilder. Again, if my goal is simply to have more functional strength, functional movement, and then just kind of do a little bit of everything, full body may be totally sufficient. But I don't recommend it if you're trying to actually change the shape of your physique. Now, when it comes to ideal splits, like I said, 2 to 3 times a week for each given muscle group is probably optimal. I like to do you mentioned a push-pull leg. That's pretty good. You could do like a push-pull leg Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you could do a push-pull leg and then repeat. So you're doing 6 training days in a 7-day block. I like to do an 8-day block, basically, in which I've got a heavy and a hypertrophy focus. So each muscle group is getting targeted twice during that 8-day cycle, one of which was more of a heavy focus, one of which with more a hypertrophy focus, more blood flow oriented. So on my heavy days, I'm typically lifting between 6 to 8 reps, but really heavy weight in several sets. On my hypertrophy movements, I'm typically doing 12 to 15, sometimes 20 reps with a little bit lighter weight. And that's basically how I structure my specific training split. So each muscle group, like back, for instance, is having a heavy focus day in which I'm doing deadlifts, heavy rows, things of that nature. And then a hypertrophy focus day in which I'm doing a lot of cable work, some more specific isolation movements, things of that nature. So each muscle group is getting hit twice, one from a heavy standpoint, one from a hypertrophy standpoint, and that's what I've personally found to be the best for building my physique up. But again, don't get so caught in the weeds that you just fail to do anything. Like a lot of people, when it comes to training, I mean, it's hard to cheat intensity, it's hard to cheat frequency, it's hard to cheat consistency. So if you're doing all those things, then your body's going to let you know relatively quickly if it's responding favorably. If you're recovering well, if you're getting stronger, if you're building more muscle, if you're seeing a difference in the mirror, then you can feel pretty confident that you're making progress. So don't become so consumed with the ideal training split that you don't just simply experiment and do it and see what works. Give a given training split 3 to 4 months or so before you decide, hey, this is or is not working, because it can take several months to really know with any degree of certainty. So that's my take on training splits and full body splits particularly. For those of you that do not know how these AMA videos work, if you send me a good, well thought out question via the Google form description, the link below, easy there, Rigel, and I use your question, then I will send you some bricks with the flavor of your choosing. John, you requested some chocolate malt, so I've got some malt headed your way. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.